Hi guys, a warm welcome to the video from Millie and me. This video is going to be about my 2025 favourite art supplies, so things that I have used constantly, loved, a couple of new things, but mainly things that I've been enjoying all year, and I want to kind of show you those in relation to my process, how I use them, why I like them, things like that. So the first thing we're going to talk about are sketchbooks. I love a good sketchbook. This year, I started the year with this cotton paper, which I absolutely love. It's a dream to paint on and to use. That actually replaced last year these dAche cotton sketchbooks, which I also really loved. So one of the things I wanted to show you is that, it really can depend on what you're looking for, the size, the format, whether you want kind of a landscape or, the more vertical one. And at times you might like, something different for different reasons. So I want to kind of show you a few different options. I really loved picking these up. This year I wanted to do the kind of loose paper, and I feel like I have a whole video sort of going through all those paintings, but they're just very quick sketches to kind of keep me thinking about colours and shapes and all those types of things. And one of the other things that I've been loving are these Uashmama they're like paper bags that you can store things in. So I love putting the sketchbooks in the different ones. So I have pastel sketchbooks in one, kind of plein air sketchbooks in one. This is another favourite. This is the Royal Talens art creation. And this is just one that we kind of go through on the channel to look at how to create things, contours, building shapes, building complex shapes. This is a new one and already a favourite. This is the Handbook Journal Co. It's the new cotton one. I really enjoy it. I also have been loving these Bespoke Letterpress. This is the bullet journal, but I just love her whole range. I'm using her planners next year. The other thing I've been really loving is kind of having some sketchbooks in a like a traveler's notebook kind of style system, and I've been really loving the Paper Republic drawing book inserts. Do you need a fancy cover for a sketchbook? No, but it's really nice to kind of have different options, maybe taking one with a heavier line weight, a thinner line weight, paperweight, thinner paperweight. So I really have enjoyed these this year. This has been really nice to kind of take outside, and it kind of, because the sketchbooks have the paper covers and they can be damaged easily, the cover sort of keeps them safe and keeps them protected a bit. Paper Republic also often have 30% off sales, and then the Chic Sparrow, you can also pick them up in buy-sell trade groups and things like that. So another thing I really have been loving is using this warm grey Copic multiliner in the 0.1 with the pastel pencils. So I'll sort of sketch it, and then I will go around with the pastel pencil, kind of smudge that around just to give it a little bit of colour and just a little bit of something. Here I also just sketched it with the pastel pencil. So I just used this one mainly, and then just a little bit of a green as well. And it's quite impactful. So it's one of those things where you don't necessarily need every colour, you don't need a lot of supplies, but you can, find a colour that you really love or that really inspires you, and kind of use that in different ways to kind of try different things. These are probably my top 5 that I used this year and that I've been really enjoying. I find just getting a couple of colours that you really like, A, will kind of help you to pick them up, and B, you can kind of decide if it's something that even suits you or not. Yeah, but I'm just kind of showing you a little bit through here how I'm using these kind of Paper Republic books. They're very nice kind of size, and also they take a lot of different media. They take watercolor pretty well. The paper buckles a little bit, but yeah, they take it pretty well. But I've also been just loving pencils, pastels, oil pastels, just a whole bunch of different things in these as well. I also wanted to show you how you can take one of the pencil sketches. So we did this one out in the garden, and you know, it's just a very quick sort of line sketch, but the purpose of these is to look at the shape of the petals, to use those shapes later on for paintings and to kind of develop those things. But it's always difficult, you know, nature is very non-symmetrical. You know, there's little flecks and contours that you wouldn't necessarily expect, so I like to do the line drawings to kind of think about that and to take little notes of it. And so this is another thing I really enjoy. This is the Stonehenge Legion paper pads. I really love those. This is another sketchbook that I absolutely adore. This is from Manufactus in Italy, and yeah, they have this just with a leather cover and then with the marbled cover, so I'll link those below, but they're so nice. It's got Amalfi cotton paper in it from the Amalfi coast in Italy, and yeah, it's just really, really beautiful. It's almost like painting in a library kind of thing. It's really nice. So this is a idea that I am working on. So this was kind of an initial sketch. It's a little bit kind of Rococo meets neoclassical, I think. I'm not sure, but yeah, I want to kind of do this kind of wreath. I feel like the neoclassical always do kind of clouds or birds or something above the sea. But then the Rococo has the kind of pretty flowers and ribbons and things like that. So, but I also used the Daniel Smith watercolor sticks on here. So just on their own, or like on here, I would pick up paint, which I show you in, I think, something, a video about painting, borrowing techniques from Monet, and maybe. And I dip the watercolor stick in water and then into my paints in my palette and kind of use it like that, like almost like a brush, but it gives you a little bit more texture. This is one I was working on when I was listening to Mel Chadwick's podcast. I love her sea walks. She goes on like sketch walks and they're by the sea. It's so beautiful, and she shows you kind of all the flowers and vegetation in growing around her, and it's so nice to see kind of different parts of the world as well. This one is in the gouache. This is the Lascaux gouache, and I really love when I'm kind of watching old maybe like home reno or like the mansion kind of YouTubers, and then sometimes they'll go past like a mirror and there'll be like a chandelier that's kind of blurred in the mirror. So yeah, I was just thinking about that. Paintings from this year, the flowers, a backdrop that I didn't finish. This one again is in the gouache, and this one is like my mum's mantelpiece when she had some of the irises we grew and some of our hydrangea on there. And the reason I like to do these in sketchbooks is because it feels a little bit less susceptible to, like, if you haven't developed it fully into a painting yet, you can just close the book. I have been also really loving these Tim Holtz little clips. They're so useful. And then the other thing I have been loving, and I upgraded this year my mechanical pencil. So I usually use the Uni Toga, but I got a Rotring rose gold one, and yeah, I have been loving that. It's a little bit heavier than the other one, but they're my go-to mechanical pencils. And I also love this. This is the Caran Technalo, so it's a watercolor graphite. But I love this for sketching. I'll only use a watercolor graphite for sketching. You can see that my tip is not sharp, and I just really like that sort of way it will glide across the paper and give me kind of a soft mark. I feel like every time I try and use a mechanical pencil for sketching, it kind of catches, especially as well because I'm using cotton paper a lot, so I don't really like it. But what I like it for is to write like this, just write either names of what I'm using or color names, and because it stays sharp, it gives you that nice fine line when you're writing words. The other thing I wanted to kind of share with you are brushes, my favorite kind of brushes I've been using this year. So this one is the Escoda Reserva number 6. This is the travel edition, and yeah, just been enjoying. I love the Escoda Reserva brushes. This is the Vinci Maestro number 1. This is, I think it's called long point or something like that. It goes into a really nice fine point, and I also have the same one, I think, in the travel brush form. But I feel like you can see this has a bit of a thinner tip, I feel like. So it's kind of nice to experiment and have different brushes and different sizes, especially like for detail. And then this is I think it's 1 inch or 2 inch, the Hake brush, and I love using that. I'm just going to kind of show you. I always go from largest brush to smallest brush. So you can see that I used the large one to put water down, but I could also use that with color if I wanted to as well. And then I'll go into my number 6 brush here, and I'm just putting down basically a thin layer of color here. So it's just a very quick kind of demonstration of how I would sort of build up a painting, starting with wet in wet. So I'm still on the large brush and just putting in sort of the general shapes and colors of a rose. And again, you can see I'm building from the largest brush to the smallest brush, but also from the lightest value to the darker values. So as the brush gets smaller, the amount of pigment on my brush increases. So I'm using less water, more pigment, and really starting to get those saturated tones onto the detail of the piece. Using the right size brush will make such a difference when you're painting. If the brush is too big, you won't be able to get the kind of the small, delicate details that you're looking for at the end. And if the brush is too small, then you can't cover enough area to kind of get the washes down or the kind of initial kind of coverage of that area that you're looking for. So I've found that's a pretty good easy way to gauge it, is just go from a larger brush to a smaller detail brush to finish things off. The next thing are watercolors. I did a whole video last week on my favorite watercolors, so we won't go into that too much today. there are so many nice ways to create a palette. So yeah, there's a few recommendations in there. There's also a few, I'm gonna have a new video coming up in a minute about ways to gift watercolors as well, so I'm pretty excited about that. But so this is another favorite this year. So this little box has been kind of filling up with pencils, watercolor sticks, pastels, oil pastels, and I kind of have it off to the side, and then I really like rifling through it, because even kind of looking for color combinations and things is really nice. So then this is a new thing. This is the Peganol Mini Sendak, and I showed this I think in the gift guide for Christmas, but I have kind of filled it now. And this might change kind of as I use it next year, but I really have been loving this. I have a larger version of this, so I know that the small version is going to be really handy as well. So it's just new, but it is one of my favorite things from this year. So I also wanted to show you these Sennelier new pastel pencils, and I was working on just a little bit on this Luxe Archival piece of paper. It's just like a you can get it to, you know, try. And I was watching a video by Emma Colbert, is that it? I'll link the video, but where she uses them and she paints a bird. And so I just thought of this little pale blue budgie, and I've had this piece of paper for several years, and I just really wanted to kind of look at how the pastels work. She said that they're really nice on a sanded paper, and I remembered that this was a sanded paper. I didn't have any other kind of paper that I thought would work. So yeah, I just tried this out. I am not especially great with animals or birds. That is one of the things I get questions about. Do I paint Millie? I have to work on animals. That has been on my list this year, and I have done a few here and there, but I really need to kind of spend a year really thinking more about incorporating them. Anyway, so those are a few of my favorite things from the year and kind of how I use them. I hope that's a little bit helpful to kind of see them in action a little bit. And I will leave you with, we started our days of Christmas for our brothers, so we're just giving them little things, like we made some kind of s'mores type things, and some little beard combs, and we'll see, we might not do every day, but yeah. Anyway, I will see you guys soon. Have a really lovely week, and Merry December. Bye.